December has always been a peaceful month in my life. The kind of cold that makes you feel alive, snow that softens every sound, hot tea in cold hands, and that special kind of silence that only winter nights carry. I'm Ayan, and the village where I grew up treats December almost like a festival. Every roof wearing a white blanket of snow, children running in the streets with red noses, and every night glowing from fireplaces crackling inside warm homes. But last December, it wasn't like any other. Even now, whenever I think about it, something cold runs through my veins. The first strange moment happened right at the start of December. Snow was falling normally, but the air felt wrong. Not cold, heavy. As if there was a weight in the atmosphere, a kind of uneasiness floating around. The trees, usually bent under the weight of snow, were moving oddly that night. Not in the breeze, but as if something heavy had brushed past them. Something tall, something silent. My little sister Iman said to me, "Bye, this snow feels weird. Even inside the house it feels colder." Kids say strange things all the time, so I laughed it off. I wish I hadn't. It was around 12:17 a.m. I was sitting by the fireplace reading. The fire cracking softly was comforting. The rest of the house was dark, quiet, asleep. Then, a knock. I froze for a moment, then assumed it must be a traveler. Snowstorms trap people sometimes. They knock at any house for help. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. Nothing. The street was completely empty, snow falling, soft and constant, but no footprints, no movement. I returned to my chair. Barely 2 minutes passed. Slower this time, more deliberate. I rushed to the peephole again. Still no one. But something made my stomach twist. The snow in front of the door was completely untouched. Anyone approaching the door would leave footprints in fresh snow. But the ground looked smooth, perfectly white. A chill crept into my chest. The next night, I sat ready. The same setup, fire glowing, lights off, and a chair placed right in front of the door, facing the peephole. My heart was tight with fear, but curiosity wouldn't let me sleep. 12:17 a.m., right on time. The knock was so sharp my whole spine stiffened. I leaned into the peephole instantly. Again, nothing. But then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. A shadow, right in front of the door, longer than a normal person, thin, stretched, shifting very slightly as if breathing. But there was no one standing there, just darkness, shaped like a man. I blinked. The shadow straightened suddenly. Then slowly, it glided backwards and vanished into the snow. I didn't tell anyone about it, not my mom, not Iman, but in my heart I knew this wasn't normal. The next morning, Iman came to me holding a paper. "I drew our house," she said calmly, but my hands went cold when I saw it. She had drawn the house, but in front of it she'd drawn a tall, black outline, a shadow, 2 red circles for eyes. I tried to stay calm and asked, "Who is this?" Iman replied with innocent honesty, "That uncle who knocks at night, he came yesterday too. I went to drink water and saw his shadow moving on the floor." My legs felt weak. She described exactly what I had seen, the height, the shape, the red eyes. How could she know? That night I decided I needed answers. Mom said, "Lock the door properly tonight, Beta. Snow will be bad." I nodded, but I didn't lock it. At 12:17, no knock. Instead, the door moved. Just a little, enough to show someone was pushing it. I raised the peephole slowly, and what I saw, God. A tall, human-like figure stood outside, skin pale like snow, fingers impossibly long, feet not touching the ground, it was floating. Its face was turned directly toward the peephole, staring, unmoving. Its eyes, 2 dim, red glowing dots. Then, its lips moved slightly, A whisper came through the door. Ayan. I slammed the door shut in panic. The fire behind me went out instantly. The room turned freezing cold. Then I heard a long scraping sound, like nails dragging across wood. I ran to the stairs. I was about to wake my mom when, Ayan. The whisper came from right behind me, right at my neck. I felt breath. I spun around, nothing. But the bedroom door was slightly open, and on the floor there was a long scratch mark, as if someone with long fingers had crawled inside. I locked myself in my room that night. The next day, desperate for answers, I went to the village library. I dug through old records, dusty papers, archived notes, and then I found something. A boy had lived in our village 100 years ago. He disappeared on a snowy December night. No body was ever found. His name? Ayan. According to village legends, those who vanish in the snow return every December, searching for someone who shares their name, calling to them, whispering, trying to take them into the snow with them. The moment I read this, I felt my blood freeze. That night, the snowstorm was violent. Winds howled like screams. The whole house shivered. Mom and Iman were asleep. I sat alone in the living room, waiting. 12:17. The door shook violently. It felt like the wood would crack. Cold air seeped in from the bottom of the door. And then, Ayan. Last December he was scared. This time he won't escape. I looked through the peephole. He was standing right there. Close. Too close. His face pressed against the peephole, skin frozen white, eyes burning red, breath fogging the glass. And then the door swung open. I don't know who opened it. I didn't open it. A burst of icy air hit me. The room disappeared, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Mom was crying. Iman looked distant. They told me they found me unconscious outside, lying in the snow. The door had been opened from the inside, but in the snow around me, there were no footprints except mine. The doctor said it was hypothermia, but the doctor didn't see what I saw. The doctor didn't feel the scratches on my neck, long, finger-like marks that still burn on cold nights. And the worst part? Every December at exactly 12:17 a.m., I feel someone standing beside me, a whisper at my ear, a cold breath on my neck. Ayan. Last December left me alive, but I know this December, I'm not alone. My name is Sarah. I've always loved winter. Snow makes me feel safe somehow, quiet, soft, peaceful. When December arrives, it feels as if the whole village breathes differently. Children laughing in the streets, the smell of warm milk from every home, and that shine in the snow you only see on cold winter nights. But last December, whatever happened to me changed that love forever. That December wasn't magical, it was terrifying. It was the third day of December. Snow was falling lightly, and the world looked like a white painting. I decided to build a snowman. I had been wanting to do it for days. My mother warned me, "Sarah, it's freezing outside. Don't stay too long." I laughed it off. "Ami, making a snowman isn't a crime." I found 2 buttons, an old scarf, and a worn-out hat in a dusty wooden drawer. The buttons looked strange. Their edges were burnt or darkened, like they had been exposed to fire. But who cares? A snowman needs eyes. I built it tall, taller than a normal person. Wide shoulders, thick body, long arms. I pressed the buttons where the eyes should be, tied the scarf around its neck, placed the hat on its head. It looked odd, but snowmen usually do. Some look cute, others look creepy. That's normal. Shivering, I ran inside the house, craving hot milk. I didn't think about the snowman again that night. I didn't think about how close to the house I had built it, or that the real horror would begin that very night. Around 10 p.m., I peeked through the window. The street was dark, silent, and empty except for the yellow glow of a street lamp reflecting off the snow. Everything looked normal, except one thing. The snowman looked slightly to the right, not where I left it. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I was imagining things. Snow, darkness, cold. They distort things, right? I convinced myself I was mistaken and went to bed. In the middle of the night, a strange sound woke me. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound of footsteps on fresh snow. But no one ever walked past our house this late. Our street was empty at night. My heart pounded as I moved toward the window. I pushed the curtain aside a little and froze. The snowman was standing much closer to the house. I knew I had built it at least 25 steps away. Now it was barely 3 steps from the front door. I tried to convince myself. Maybe the snow shifted. Maybe it slid. But my brain whispered the truth. 200 kilos of snow don't slide on their own. I pulled the curtains shut and forced myself to sleep. I didn't want to think. The next day I told myself I would move the snowman, but the snowfall was too heavy. I could barely see anything outside. I told myself I'd do it tomorrow. That night, the footsteps returned. This time the sound was slower, heavier, as if something big was dragging itself across the snow. My heart raced, but curiosity is stronger than fear sometimes. I lifted the window curtain just an inch and looked outside. My throat went dry. The snowman was right under my window, so close that if I stretched my hand outside, I could touch its hat. Its button eyes were pointed straight up, looking directly at me, and the crooked smile on its face. It was wider now, twisted, almost alive. The burnt edges of the buttons looked darker than before, as if they had been heated recently. I slammed the window shut. Sleep wasn't even a possibility that night. Next morning, I tried pushing the snowman, but it was frozen so solid I couldn't move it even an inch. I thought, fine, I'll get help tomorrow. That night at 12 a.m., everything became quiet. The snowfall had stopped. Even the wind was still. Then I heard it again. Dragging footsteps, slow, heavy. I didn't dare look outside. Then something fell inside the house. Thack! My blood turned cold. I crept down the stairs. The living room door was slightly open. I pushed it with trembling hands, and there it was. The snowman was standing in the middle of the living room. Inside the house, my breath stopped. I couldn't even scream. Its button eyes glowed faintly. Not red, but unnatural. Its smile was stretched sideways now, like a human smirk carved into the snow. A long trail of snow led from the main door to the living room. The main door was closed. I ran, 2 steps at a time, back to my room, locked the door, didn't sleep, just listened to the cold silence. The next morning, I called our neighbor, Uncle Fareed. He's practical, logical, a man who doesn't believe in nonsense. I lied to him. I said a stray dog damaged my snowman, so I needed help removing it. He touched the snowman and froze for a moment. Then he bent down, picked one of the blackened buttons, and examined it. His face changed. "Sarah, where did you find these?" "In an old drawer," I said. He swallowed hard. "These aren't buttons, they're glass eyes, the kind used in taxidermy, to replace the eyes of dead animals." Every hair on my body stood up. Eyes, dead animals, and those eyes were staring at me through the snowman. A snowman doesn't need eyes. Maybe it never was a snowman. The last night, too real to forget. Uncle Fareed tried breaking the snowman with a shovel, but the snow was frozen solid like stone. He said, "I'll come back tomorrow with more people." I wanted to spend the night somewhere else, but the storm was too strong. Roads were blocked. That night, I stayed awake. At 1 a.m., the footsteps returned. Crunch, 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 but heavier than before, like something carrying weight. Then I heard scratching at my bedroom door. Skr, 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 like snow rubbing against wood, or something sharp dragging across it. The handle wiggled, slowly, then stopped. Silence. The kind of silence that feels alive. In the morning, I found the snowman right in front of the main door. Its scarf was on the ground, and its smile had torn the snow around its mouth, stretched so wide it looked painful. I said nothing. The end, and yet not over. Uncle Fareed returned with 2 men, this time determined. They hacked the snowman until it shattered into pieces. But inside it, something fell out. A dried bone, something like an animal's limb, and 2 glass eyes. They buried everything far outside the village. The snowman never came back, never appeared again. But still, when it snows, I feel watched. When the wind moves the snow, I hear those slow, heavy footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And sometimes I swear I can see a crooked smile staring at my house from somewhere in the white distance.